Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here for an update on something of concern to our entire city and every Angelino. And I want to thank the press for their good attention to this issue. I want to thank our Back to Basics team that is behind me. One of the most critical responsibilities of a city is keeping it safe and keeping it clean. We've seen record lows in our crime rates for the last decade, safest decade in the last 50 years. But as you know, when I came in, one of the things I was passionate about was also cleaning up our streets, even in the face of challenges that we have with an explosion of homelessness, with the seeing that we have of changing of how our trash is collected. But it is a matter of public health, it's a matter of public pride, it's a matter of public safety. And we all know that one of the toughest things we face is when everybody else is playing by the rules, when a few people don't. Since I've been a council member, I've dealt with the scourge of illegal dumping in neighborhoods where people think they can come into neighborhoods, buy businesses, dump illegally the goods that they have, and leave, waiting for somebody else to pay for the cleanup, waiting for somebody else to take it on as their problem. And this is a crime, let us be clear, whether it is committed by those who use our public space as a dumpster, businesses that try to skirt the law, or those who seek to come in even from other cities and use Los Angeles as a dumping ground. And that's why back in June I stood with city leaders downtown, and together we promised to crack down with every tool at our disposal on illegal dumping. We're here today to tell you about how the city has cleaned up our streets and how we've stepped up enforcement and the success that we've had. 4 months since we announced a crackdown on illegal dumping, our sanitation teams wrote twice the number of citations they did in the first 5 months of 2019. Altogether this year, counting through about a week and a half ago, that equaled 560 citations for illegal dumping given out in the city. And let me pause for a moment to acknowledge the extraordinary sanitation enforcement and care teams for what they do every single day. This year alone, they collected 293 tons of illegal garbage on the streets of LA every week. That's more than 586,000 pounds of food waste, motor oil, construction debris, and tires. 293 tons, or 586,000 pounds. That's the equivalent of 6.5 commercial airplanes. That's 47% more than was collected during that same period last year. And our sanitation teams have also sped up their average response time by 2 days, so that within a week you will always get your items and the areas cleaned up. And we're going to keep pushing that number down even further. And now, because we know, as I've said many times in these press briefings, that 80% of the debris that we experience on the streets comes from illegal dumping, we know that only 20% comes from homeless encampments. And because most of it comes from business owners, a few business owners who want to skate the law, that is where we focused our efforts. So I can report that today, of those 560 citations, 75% of them went to businesses, and 41% were issued geographically right here in the downtown area. We've taken a methodical, comprehensive, and aggressive approach to strengthening and expanding our enforcement. We added teams of city workers to this effort, put money in the budget to do this, and expanded the hours of surveillance as well, so that they're out on the streets at night. If you think you can get away with it because it's nighttime, look around, because we probably are there. And at times they are even where we need to be undercover. We added a second enforcement team and installed lighting and 20 video surveillance cameras in the most affected areas throughout the city, and all cameras, I'm proud to report, are up that we have purchased. It's pretty simple. We won't tolerate illegal dumping in the streets of Los Angeles. Those of us who play by the rules shouldn't have our city befouled by those who somehow think the rules don't apply to them. We will not tolerate businesses that use our public spaces and our streets, our alleys, as a dumping ground. And so if you do business in LA, you are required by law to have trash collection services. And if you don't, and you commit misdemeanor illegal dumping, you could be subject to a $1,000 fine or 6 months in jail. In fact, this summer, the Bureau of Sanitation stepped up inspections to ensure that businesses comply with the law. What we found was fascinating. Since May, there have been more than 650 inspections. 34% of the businesses that we inspected were out of compliance, and now have either signed up and are complying with the law with trash collection services, or where they haven't, have had their cases referred to the city attorney's office for prosecution. And just today, the city council, thanks to the leadership of our legislative body, approved an ordinance that I asked them to move forward with that amends our municipal code to give us more teeth to go after illegal dumping. The changes include higher fines. They've been increased by 300% for your first violation, and you'll pay 150% more in fines for any subsequent violation as well. And the ordinance makes clear that we can recover 100% of the cost of the cleanup on top of the fine as well. So you're going to be paying a fine, you're going to be subject to criminal prosecution, and you're going to pay for that cleanup. These updates make something very clear, that we will not put up with illegal dumping here in Los Angeles. No one wants to step over crates of rotting fruit, heaps of garbage, and every Angelino deserves clean streets that are safe. So before I turn over the mic, I want to make sure that Angelinos know that they too have a role to play in this. We couldn't do it without some amazing Angelinos who have helped us. If you see something illegally dumped in your neighborhood or anywhere in Los Angeles, please submit a service request by calling 311, by emailing 311@lacity.org, or downloading, as I do, the 311 app and filling out a request just from your smartphone. So with that, and I'll come back to say some Spanish as well, let me turn it over to the man who has led this work for me in the Bureau of Sanitation, and who keeps our city clean, who's rolled out the Care and Care Plus teams that many of you were at just a few weeks ago, which is dealing with our encampment areas, that 20% that I mentioned, but has done a superb job with the men and women behind us. Enrique Zaldivar. Enrique?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. As the city agency entrusted with providing the city with solid waste management services, as part of our mission to protect public health and the environment, LA Times' commitment to end illegal dumping is ingrained in our DNA. There may be dozens of excuses for why any one person would offend the basic dignity of a community, but every one excuse is completely inexcusable. Syntactically, that may not be right.
Every excuse is inexcusable. That's right.
It is illegal, as the mayor said, and for that matter, even criminal. And while LA Times culture is one based on services, I want to make it clear that we also have an enforcement edge to us. And if you can't tell that from looking at me, definitely look at our inspectors. They're looking tough. Today's ordinance that the mayor mentioned will provide us with more enforcement options to pursue illegal dumping violations either administratively or criminally. It also adds higher monetary fines, which the mayor already called out. Our environmental compliance officers and inspectors, better known as ECIs, have already issued a number of violations and are learning how to best apprehend and catch folks in the act. We have also integrated the enforcement of insurance that every business and apartment in the city is subscribed to the proper recycled solid waste and recycling services. The numbers that the mayor mentioned speak for themselves. We know we can end this. We know that we're well on our way to make more than a significant difference, and we can see the end to illegal dumping. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And I noticed in there it said that 41% of those that we found came into compliance simply just by doing that inspection of that third that wasn't compliant. As I mentioned, the rest have been referred to the city attorney's office. I want to also thank some folks who have made this possible as well. I want to thank our city attorney, Mike Fuhrer, and his staff, Kevin James, who's the president of our Board of Public Works and has a personal passion and has helped oversee this. The Watershed Protection Division in LA San, including Steve Peterson, who's the Chief Environmental Compliance Officer, Gonzalo Barriga, who's the Assistant Chief Environmental Compliance Officer at the Bureau of Sanitation, the Franchise Division at LA San, including Daniel Myers, who's the Division Manager, Reina Pereira, the Assistant Division Manager, Tritan, who's the Chief Inspector, and Andy Coe, the Senior Environmental Compliance Inspector as well. También en español yo quiero decir, en junio, yo prometí a la ciudad de Los Ángeles que la ciudad respondería al vertido ilegal. Desde entonces, nuestros equipos de saneamiento han redoblado el número de citas que han escrito en comparación con los primeros 5 meses de 2019. En solo este año, trabajadores municipales han recogido más de 293 toneladas o 586,000 libras de vertida ilegal cada semana. En Los Ángeles no vamos a tolerar empresas que usan nuestros espacios públicos, calles y callejones como un vertedero. Hoy mismo el Consejo Municipal, y gracias al líderes del Consejo Municipal, aprobó multas más elevadas para violaciones criminales. Nadie quiere caminar por encima de cajas de producto podrido o montones de basura. Y cada angelino se merece calles que son limpias y seguras. Si ves algo que fue tirado ilegalmente, por favor envíe una solicitud de servicio con llamar al 311, enviar un correo electrónico al 311@lacity.org o descargar la aplicación de 311 y completar una solicitud. Gracias a este equipo, gracias a los residentes de Los Ángeles por su pasión y participación en esta campaña también. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes.
Can you break down the specifics on the amount of the violations? What is it currently, and what are you asking it to?
Sure. So the first one, what it's changed to now with what just passed.
Yeah.
So the first one was $1,000 penalty, right? Is that correct? And then we just tripled that so that it can go up to, I believe. So here it is. Sorry, it is now. It was 50, for first violation, to 200. From 100 for your second to now 250 for any subsequent violation. And then it adds an option of administrative citations, which is 250 for the first, 500 for the second, 1,000 for a third, and 1,000. So those are on top of it. Simply put, before it was as low as $50, and now it could be for your first one as high as 450. If you put both the violations on that. And it goes up all the way to, if you have subsequent violations, you're looking at 1,250.
Do you think that's enough to deter large businesses who are saving an incredible amount of money by not taking it to account?
Well, here's the big surprise. They're paying for the cleanup too. So on top of that. Correct. Well, we have to catch them to do the citation as well. But absolutely. I mean, that's a much higher expense than even the fine itself. But absolutely. And knowing that that will continue to go up each time sends that message clearly. And forget the fine. We're referring these for prosecution. Whether it's a day in jail or whether it's the full 6 months in jail, consider whether that's worth the risk when you're looking to dump illegally. You think it's a victimless crime, you think it's something with no consequence, those days are over. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, we just actually jailed
Sorry?
in the past. Have you had anybody who's actually?
I don't know. I'd have to check with the city attorney. I don't know of any cases, but that's why we're referring them, and we do hope the city attorney will actually be prosecuting them. They have been very clear, and I think they are ready to do that. So that also depends on judges, but the threat of that is pretty darn effective, and the prosecution's stronger too.
We were just in the fashion district
Yep.
speaking to some frustrated business
Yeah.
owners, say you guys are not keeping up.
Yep.
Are they misreading things? Or
No, you can always look.
better?
You're never going to be able to go out there and not find somebody who says that. When we go and we investigate that afterwards, we sometimes find those are folks that don't themselves have the trash pickup. You have to look at every case individually. We found after one of the stings that happened from one of our local stations, we went back out there. It was actually the neighboring business that had complained that was paying people to take their stuff and dump it in a camped area. So I always know not to comment before I know the specifics of any area, but anybody refers, whether it's referred through the media or directly to us, I'm very proud of not only the volume we're picking up, the speed with which we're doing it now, and this is ongoing. We need everybody's participation. Those businesses, the quicker they let us know, the quicker we can get out there. I don't think that 1 week is, for me, the goal. I want to see it go down, and I know Enrique knows this, for even a quicker response time. We are able to pave potholes in 48 hours response time of business hours. We should be able to do something similar, but we're adding those resources, and I know it's frustrating out there. It's frustrating for me. I walked in my own neighborhood yesterday. I saw dumping that was right there on 3rd Street. I used my 311 app. I expect the next week it'll get picked up, but that doesn't stop somebody. That's why we are doing much more enforcement. And this enforcement will begin to send that message. It doesn't all happen overnight, but as we have those examples, those fines, we know we'll find the people, and we often find it's repeat offenders who come time and time and time again. If we can get them out of the system, that will help those folks that are feeling that still today. Yep.
Issue gotten worse in recent years? Because I feel like
Yeah.
And I don't know, is it worse than before, or, I mean,
My personal opinion is I've seen times that have been this bad, and I've seen times that have been better. It kind of ebbs and flows, and you're right. This is not something new, and it's wrong to conflate this with the rise in homelessness. We know that's a significant but small percentage relatively. When I was a council member in neighborhoods like what we call Frogtown now, Legion Valley, it was worse than it is today. It requires vigilance. You see some years when it picks up, and I think the technology allows us to do this much better. The cameras that we can install, the way we can move them around, what we learn in terms of the nighttime and when people dump, I think we have a more effective response. But no, I can't say authoritatively it's worse.
and has
It's been.
staffing hurt after?
No, we've been adding staff. I think that's only helped us. I think in the recession time, probably sure. It hurt all our city services, but when I came in, that was part of what we started to hire for.
And can you give specific numbers on the staff increase?
For the Hope teams, we've hired 47 people.
Yeah,
but I don't know, the last 2 or 3 years, you want to walk through I mean, we've done year after
Right.
year, we've done additions.
So we have had a number of increases over the last 5 years, and we're at up to 250 people assigned and dedicated to livability. The most recent increase, as the mayor said, was this fiscal year, 47 new staff. In total, it's close to 250, 30 teams that are deployed every single day, and now we're adding other services as well, but it's 30 teams on any given day deployed throughout the city.
And you said they're assigned to livability, so it's not just illegal dumping, they're doing other outreach as well? Or?
They're doing illegal dumping and homeless encampment cleanup.
And just on the Care and Care Plus teams, that section alone, which is for the 20% of where we see illegal dumping, will go from about 900 to 1,800 cleanups this year alone. So that's a doubling. I think if you look at where we were for our proactive sanitation teams, we had doubled that 2 years earlier. So we've quadrupled in the last 3 years.
En español, ¿qué va a pasar a las áreas donde viven las personas sin hogar, donde se ve mucha basura y muchas veces
Sí.
los niños pasan o las personas que andan en silla de ruedas no pueden pasar sobre la banqueta?
Claro. Bueno, hay nuevos equipos, se llama equipos de care, de cuidado. Y estos equipos específicamente tienen el entrenamiento en la salud mental, un equipo no solamente de trabajadores en el departamento de sanitación, pero también profesionales de LASA, Autoridad de Indigencia en Los Ángeles, y también oficiales del departamento de policía. Y juntos ellos pueden proveer servicios con la limpieza. Los dos juntos tienen más éxito, y nosotros podemos doblar el número de estas limpiezas de 900 a 1,800 en este año, y tenemos más de 47 nuevos empleados en la ciudad de Los Ángeles en este departamento, específicamente por estas áreas de encampamentos. Pero es importante porque los encampamentos solamente son 20% de este problema. 80% es el problema de los negocios, y estamos juntos a prevenir estas actividades en downtown y otras partes de la ciudad donde hay negocios que no aceptan la ley.
Ricardo, ¿nos puede explicar cómo han cambiado las multas en los últimos años? ¿Eran las $50 antes? ¿Cuál es la cantidad nueva? No solamente nada.
Sí. Nosotros tenemos 4 veces más empleados en esta área por las limpiezas, y tenemos muchos años más y más basura y otros años menos basura, pero es mi prioridad a tener los recursos necesarios, y con estos, ¿cómo se dice? Penalties, montas. Estas montas son terribles en el pasado, y este es un mensaje directamente a estas personas. Hay una consecuencia de sus acciones, no solamente con el dinero, pero también con prosecución de nuestro abogado de la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Gracias.
Is there any particular business, type of business that dumps more than any other, or are they
You want some names?
equal violators?
That is actually in the works to be able to, it's
The
in the
wall of
works.
shame?
The wall of shame. We are going to publish names at some point, but it's a large concentration in the downtown produce area. That is one location, and others have construction debris more focused in other parts of the city. But in downtown, it's primarily produce.
How about in the San Fernando Valley?
San Fernando Valley, there's some areas where construction debris,
Do the
tires in South LA.
Are there any provisions in the law which could be put in where you've got somebody on this stuff, and you know just fine? You impound the truck they use to do the dumping. They'll pay a fine, they'll go to court, they'll take their chances on going to county jail, odds on that are about zero. You impound somebody's truck, he's out of business. Has that been thought of as an agenda?
It's a great idea. We have a city attorney who can speak to it. I don't think it's in there, but why don't you clarify on the fines too?
Well,
And tell me your name too.
Adina Hopenstand, Office of the City Attorney. With respect to impoundment, Mr. Mayor is correct that that is not included in the ordinance. It's something that the city explores. There are penal code sections and other vehicle code sections and health and safety code sections, and our friends in the Watershed Protection Division know all of the different regulations, and there are a number of penalties outside of city law that they enforce, as well as within city law, if that answers your question. But that's something that city has looked at, and there's the legal considerations around when impoundment can happen and what process needs to take place. With respect to the fines and the penalties within the ordinance, I just wanted to give a little bit of refinement. Even though there are infraction amounts where it's been increased, here we've heard quite a bit about it going from $50 to $200 for the first infraction. Infraction is not necessarily where penalties need to stop. If it's truly an egregious case, the city attorney always reserves the right to proceed with a misdemeanor enforcement, which is $1,000. And as to the administrative citation process, that's an alternative tool available. Perhaps it can be, in some cases, a little speedier, but it's an alternative to the criminal penalties that the city will make and decide which route to take as appropriate.
Thank you. For those who couldn't read between the lines, refinement means correcting the mayor, so thank you for the correction. I appreciate it. Any other questions?
Are there any other specific hotspots, or is downtown LA really where you
We map it out. I'd say definitely downtown LA. There are individual neighborhoods when you get to the micro level where we've experienced it over time, close to the LA River. There's parts of San Fernando Valley. I don't know if anybody wants to give Wilmington, absolutely. We see a lot. Yeah, we map it out. We'd be happy to share we have heat maps of where all the dumping is. So if you guys want a visual on that, we're more than happy to give it to you. Okay. All right.
Hemos hablado también sobre las fábricas, qué pasa con las familias que a veces sacan los sofás o colchones en sus tiendas,
Sí.
la multa sería igual.
Sí, las multas son igual en todas partes de la ciudad, pero necesitamos ver a cada caso individualmente. Una familia o un trabajador es diferente, en mi opinión, de un dueño. La dirección de dueños muchas veces resultan en un empleo de esta fábrica o de una compañía, y esta persona no es para nosotros la causa. La causa es el dueño, que no pagan en este sistema nuevo por la basura.
Is there an organized effort on this? Is it just individual companies dumping stuff, or is there like a vast criminal underground doing illegal dumping of things like oil and stuff like that?
I once sat down with a council member my first week on the job, and somebody was sure there's conspiracy theory, and she said, the problem, Eric, with conspiracy theories is nobody's smart enough to pull them off. Usually it's individual. There's no massive conspiracy. But we did find that even sometimes advice being given by some business leaders and business associations was, oh yeah, don't pay for the new trash system, just dump it on the sidewalk, the city will take it. We definitely have informed people that is not the law, that is not acceptable, and that there are penalties for that. But no, we see it. Some businesses over and over have been the cause of. That's why these investigations are important, but it doesn't seem like there's companies talking to each other and all doing this together. All right. Thank you all very much. Thanks for coming.